So unfortunately, my last file was deleted when I updated the game. They had a patch out, and I installed it, and I did not back up my files properly. So we are back at square one. This one is a custom file, so I'll show you the settings that we have as I change some of the others. So I know one thing that you do need to change once you're in the game. So I want this to be at 30. I'm gonna leave these all at default. I turned off coaches goals, or I mean owner goals. Where's that? Yeah, I turned that off because that's annoying to have. I guess we can do that too while we're at it. And league settings, rules. I'm keeping all of this there. I feel like they improved the 10-5 rule because I feel like in the last game, players, if they were under the 10-5 rule, they would literally never ever accept any trade anywhere. But I was able to do that in a different file. Rule 5 draft still there. I don't think I have to worry about ghost players or anything like that. I'm trying to see the other thing that I. Oh, yeah. The expansion. So I have expansion unchecked. I left relocation and team nickname on. So it's pretty similar to what I had in the one where I went through some of the changes that I typically do. With the players, I have this as a lot, default, and default. That's all similar to what I had in the video. Pretty much the same. My settings for that also got deleted too. So all of the old files. So I had to go back. I mean, not that it took that long to do, but with this team, we're going to go to the um, first year draft, and that will be the end of that first video. And then we'll just continue to go about it that way. So we're going to go defaults. So we have, I think he was a Rule 5 pickup. Yeah, so I don't think. Well, actually, we shouldn't be able to do this. So let's see if it lets us do this. All right, so we do have to do that. So we have to keep him on the main roster. I don't think he's a starting pitcher, is he? No, he's just a bullpen arm. I don't know why they picked up someone like that, just kind of a random person, but we'll go with that. We're going to change the strategy, take off the follower role, and leave that normal. Keep the rotation like this. I suppose Kobe Allard can be the guy that kind of gets the short end of the stick. We definitely need to make some improvements to our main roster. So, like Daniel Schneeman, he's going to go to AAA. We're going to waive Nolan Jones because there's no reason to have him when he's going to not do anything as a hitter. And we'll bring CJ Kapis up. And then we can potentially sign a free agent as well. Let's see. Clear this filter and look here. Um, we have to double check to see what we actually would benefit from. So Austin Hedges as well. We're going to waive and designate him. So we need a catcher, potentially a first baseman, but we have kind of a middle infielder would be nice as well. And so we're pretty good in that regard. So let's go back into free agency, and we'll see that we have Tom Murphy here that we could offer a contract. Davey Gerlon also potentially. So he can play first, second, third, and short. So Casey LeBlanc will offer him a contract. We will also offer, and we just need a catcher. His power is okay. He was in Double A last year. Tom Murphy played for San Francisco for a little bit in Seattle, but hasn't played for a year. It will offer him. He's going to be a backup catcher, so that's going to be fine. And then we can look at pitchers as well to see if there's anyone that we want to stash in the minor leagues. So Amir Garrett, I think he had a pretty noteworthy fight when he was on the Reds. He was on the Reds, wasn't he? Yeah, he was on Cincinnati. Yeah, throws left-handed. Yeah, I remember him getting into some shenanigans. So we have a couple guys here that will look for. also we should look while we're thinking about it. Age, less, sort by here, and then do that for all players, and just go ahead and get all those guys into our farm system, or at least most of them. And I want to change the screen setup as well. So if we have 4 along the top and it goes down 4, we should be able to see most of our team. Is a little bit jumbled here, so we're gonna do 3 down. I think that's a little bit better. All right, so we have to look at. So I'd like to see them all, because then, like, we can see, oh, ACL, there's 126 players, so we have to like go ahead and take care of that. So we have a lot of players to get rid of in there. Watch me do it like this, and someone will be able to tell me that there's a more efficient way of clicking. Because, like, hold shift like you would for selecting a bunch of files and stuff doesn't work. But you typically don't need to release this many people at once. But I've been continue to enjoy the game, and I look forward to it. Look forward to playing. It kind of stinks that my file where everything was going really well, everything got deleted, and having to restart, but it is what it is. Alright, so we should be good there. Nobody else is really crazy high as far as their roster numbers. What we are going to do, though, is look at all players in the organization, sort by age, and then just find people that are, so like he's in AA, he's in AA. We're going to release. I forgot that we have David Fry. Set his position to catcher, and then just have other guys that he's at the Major League roster, so we kind of need him. We don't really need Daniel Schneemann. That's good enough for now for that. We're going to manager options, follow first year combine. I'm going to leave that on. I'm going to try to take a more active role. I do like having the promotions and demotions on. It's just nice that they kind of, will essentially do what I do, which is just sort the minor leagues by the AI filter anyway. But managing development lab, all of that. International players, I think we'll take care of that as well. So don't really care if players are disappointed to see Nolan Jones leave. We'll go forward a day. We did offer a bunch of free agents some contracts. Game's not moving. Oh, that's pretty cool. So he would sign with the Mexican League? Huh. Wait, this is a new thing, so... so it is a team in the Mexican League. Now that's pretty interesting. So a lot of contracts that we have there. Charles LeBlanc, we actually kind of want on our team, to be honest. We're not going to offer you a major league deal. All right, can we get some of these guys to sign? So this is actually really interesting. So these are leagues that where you just have like, huh? That's pretty cool. These are all like independent leagues and stuff. All right. Let's go screen setup. So we'll go four. It's four down, three across. We'll go, or three across. So we'll switch it that way. Okay, that looks a lot better. That's similar to the view I had last time. Okay. So, and we can go 3x3 instead. It made the stars a little jumbled up when it looked like that before. All right, designated for assignment. Carlos can come up. Tom Murphy can go there. All right, Charles, you just need to sign your contract. It's a 1-year contract anyway. This guy's making it so difficult for us. It's crazy that he wants a major league deal. Not doing it, buddy. All right, Charles, are you going to sign the contract? I know we got a couple more. I guess we're in the preseason. I guess it's not even spring training yet. But all right, so it looks like we did get Charles. All right, so we do have him. So we'll look at our pitching because we actually have too many pitchers. Bring Seth Romero up and Marshall up. All right. Strategy, I usually just go with, like, I've done sabermetric, small. I've kind of tried all the different ones, and it's been different in different ways. So we're going to go sabermetric, infield shift, pitch around. Let's go to tactician. So, like, this is a lot different. This was initially what I used and had a lot of success with the Guardians. I kind of like this more, the idea of pitching around guys more. Um, we don't want to squeeze bunt as much or sacrifice bunt, hit and run. I like being aggressive on the base pass. I think that's fine. All the shifting around, that's fine. Um, we don't care about, well, there's no point for that anyway, because pitchers don't hit unless you have Shohei Ohtani on your team. Then I suppose that he would. We'll see who else that we can get. I do need to still go and train. Been procrastinating that, but I'm quite sore, so it kind of makes sense why I am procrastinating it. You have Mueller here that could potentially come up to the top. I just don't know why the Guardians hit. We're just gonna give him back to the White Sox. Such a random Guardians move to Rule 5 pick a random pitcher. Trainer's actually not too bad, but our scouting director is. I also wish that was something that would change. Is I wish coaches could improve or their actual levels would change, but I feel like they never actually do. We're gonna go with someone that highly favors tools and is good across the board, so we'll just do that. We were hearing in the past that that's better to have someone that's highly favoring of tools to scout your players. I don't know if it really matters too much though. Looks kind of murky outside. It's supposed to get super cold tomorrow. Super warm today. It's be in like mid 70s and then it'd be like 20 degrees tomorrow. Actually got quite a few catching prospects to sign in the minors, which is good. I have it set up for a day. I thought I had it for a week. I guess I didn't click the right button before. Alright. So we're going to take a little bit more ownership of our player development. So we got Bazzani here. We're going to look at his development. We don't care about defense. We don't care about running. We want power. And everything else. Keep that there. Chase the Lauder. Development. Don't know why it's all defense. We want power and I. And leave everything else. We can actually decrease the running because we don't really... Yeah, he doesn't really have good running speed, so why would we care about that? Alright. I always like to max out the power if I ever mess with development stuff. Braylon Dowdy. For pitchers, usually I like one of these presets. So if we go back to his main arm, so 96 to 98 potential. So we'll look at his development and then do something like power arm and just leave it like that. That's kind of what he projects to be. Someone like Ralphie, strategy or development. We don't care about defense. His running speed is not that great, so we don't really care about that. We want him to hit power, gap, eye, kind of just generally increase all of those. I don't necessarily go through it with every player and worry about the development. He's kind of a slower pitcher anyway, so we're going to change him to finesse. Matt Wilkinson, similar thing, development, finesse. Angel Gano, development. His defense is fine, his running is fine. We want that eye to increase. Gap, power, all of those. I feel like guys just kind of develop in their defense, but also don't value. Clearly, as you see me, degrading that, I don't really value defense that much. So Cal, 95 to 97. So we'll give him the good old power arm. He only has those 3 pitches anyway. Doesn't have, I don't know. Daniel Espinoza, development. We're going to go, I don't really need that. Let's go power arm. It's very fragile-y. And then Jace, development. He's not going to do any defense. He's not going to do any running. He's all power. Avoid Ks. All of that. And I usually only worry about the ranked prospects, but yeah. So we're not worried too much about going through every single prospect on there. So once a guy's ranked, then we'll worry about them. But if they're not ranked, we'll let the AI do whatever they want with development, the default stuff. It's still going day by day. I thought I've changed that now twice. 1 week. There we go. All right. It's actually locked in now. I don't know why it says processing trade deadline day. I don't know what trade deadline they're talking about. It'd be funny if something glitched out. That was the trade deadline. 1 game into the season. Starting out pretty well. I've also, with my original file, I didn't fire coaches until the end of the year. With the one that I had, I was messing around with things. I got all new coaches, and the team was just horrendous. So I think that does something to where it makes your team do worse initially. I'm not sure. But I'll just let coaches, like in the off season, we can kind of go about it that way. But we could also just be generally bad, so it's hard to really know. But these videos should be a little bit shorter. Unless I get caught in the weeds of doing a whole bunch of stuff. But we're going to get to the first year player draft. I think I mentioned that already before. Once we go through that, then that will be the end of the first half of the season, essentially. And then we'll go through the second half in the playoffs, hopefully. And then the video after that will be the off-season all the way to spring training, or potentially just going all the way through spring training in that off-season thing to kind of get the opening day roster planned out. And then go about it that way. But try to make the videos a little bit shorter. I mean, I can play this game for hours. I enjoy it, but I think it'd be better to have a little bit shorter videos, closer to 30 minutes ideally. But I'll say that, and this one will still be an hour and a half or whatever, because I have the focus and determination to make every team good, and just to continue to play forever. But also sometimes the game kind of moves slow. You know, like now, like going forward a week, and it's moving a little lethargically, but it has to save and do pictures and stuff like that. And there's some stuff you can manipulate as well, like how many pictures and stuff it makes for the players and stuff like that to try to speed up the game. But is this spring training? Am I actually stupid? Okay, no, this is the regular season because they would have ties on there. So our starting rotation, besides Tanner Bybee, is doing pretty well. Our batting is doing what Cleveland does best, which is not doing anything. If I sort by here, all right, we're gonna leave everything else there. Chandler Simpson already with 11 stolen bases. Kind of fallen behind. Andrew Walters suffered a setback of his injury. So let's look at the team a little bit. Really great averages on the top two. That's fantastic. We love to see it. Manzardo's really struggling. Or drop him down. How's Reese doing? 254, 257. We gotta leave it like that. I think that's okay. I'm gonna switch them around a little bit though. How's Jonathan doing? Pretty good. 205, not too great. 293, 217, not too great. Charles LeBlanc not really doing much to earn his way, earn his keep. We'll keep George Valeri up here. See if our lineup can do a little bit better. Stephen Kwan on the leaderboard for stolen bases. Slade Ciccone on the leaderboard for earned run average. Always love to see those kind of things pop up. Although stolen bases aren't really too important, but Manzardo's actually doing horrendous. 0.092 average. So I think we throw Charles LeBlanc there at first. Let Manzardo hit off the bench. I do have a bunch of potatoes that are baking in the oven, so if you hear me get up and start running across my house, it's to go and take those out of the oven. We're kind of hanging around 500. Most of the division is kind of hanging around the same. We're kind of falling off now. Don't like to see that. So we have some struggling hitters. Manzardo, 0.92 average. Really rough. We're going to look at AAA to see if anyone's popping off that's starting. So Alexander Canario. Exit velocity is pretty high for AAA. All of those. Expected batting average is 224, so that is a facade of a 309. Expected batting average 250, so I mean he's doing all right. See that 2.5 stars, just 2. We'll see someone like Travis Bazania if he's ready. Expected batting average 246. I mean, not the best, not the worst. No one's really doing anything that's radically going to tell us that besides Wilfredo Atunez. Expected batting average of 303. Slugging high. Or expected slugging is high. So we could. I mean, at this point, we don't really need to do anything because I think it'd be a little bit too early to start moving guys up and down. Manzardo should start to figure things out, and he should earn his spot back in the lineup. But when you bat under 100, you kind of need a break from hitting every day. I suppose we should look at our pitching as well. So besides Marshall, Kozowski, he's struggling a bit. Our starting rotation is doing okay. Parker Messick's not doing the best. Tanner Bybee also not doing the best. But generally, I don't think it's too bad. I mean, we're 17-20, so obviously we can get better in all these different realms. And yeah, so like our starters ERA 7, our bullpen 7th. It's really our hitting that's kind of letting us down. So move forward. I mean, if our hitting starts to heat up a little bit, maybe we'll start to do well. In my file where we made the playoffs in the first year, Rhys Hoskins had like 33 home runs. He popped off, but so CJ Kafis is out for a little bit, which means that we are going to put Rhys Hoskins in DH for both. He's batting .260 with 7. Does that say 7 home runs? 6 home runs. So not too bad. We're going to look at AAA as well. In our lineups, Cooper Ingle, expecting batting average .268, slugging pretty low. We don't really necessarily need another catcher. But we have Khalil Watson that's up here as well. That's really high for everything. So I do like what I'm seeing there. And then same with Tunez. Ralphie also popping off. But we just lost a first base. So we have a couple different options. So Ralphie here, 11 home runs, 284. How's Travis Vania? So he's not quite there yet. But he's not even starting. He's starting the outfield. So what we do, and he's batting .307, is we bring Khalil up and give him a chance to just be on the roster for a bit and see if he can hang, and then we can bring a Tunez up if that doesn't work. And by then, CJ Kafis should be back anyway. So just keep it rolling, keep it moving. Gabriel Arias, and Khalil is pretty versatile as well. He can play in the infield too, but it looks like they've mostly made him an outfielder. He had almost a 116 exit velocity. That's pretty good. Pretty good. All right, so we are currently 4 games back, but we are over 500, so we do like to see that. Right in the thick of the wild card race, but we definitely want to push to win the division. We don't want to be playing for the wild card, but we'll take anything that we can get in this first season. Chandler Simpson batting .319. That's actually, if he batted over 300 in real life with how many stolen bases and stuff he gets, it would actually be insane. But I don't think that's ever really going to happen. So Stephen Kwan is struggling with his 194 average. We're going to continue to rock with him there. Rhys Hoskins is starting to heat up, 315, 7 home runs. Rest of our hitting, that's probably why we're starting to do a little bit better overall with our team, is that our hitting is just a bit better, which we do like to see. But Khalil's batting well in his couple at bats. George Valeria is struggling. We're going to send him down to AAA. I think it's been enough time, and we can bring up another pitcher potentially. So let's look at AAA again at pitching to see if anyone's doing a really good job. Cade Winquist is doing quite well with everything. That's actually crazy good performance there. So Cade is going to come up to the majors. Throw him into the bullpen. And let George Valeria get some more at-bats, try to figure some things out in AAA. I feel like he might actually be a pretty impactful player for the Guardians in real life in this season. I think he has a chance to, not necessarily win Rookie of the Year or anything crazy like that, but just be a really good, productive player. I think that's really what the Guardians are kind of banking on with not signing a bunch of people and trying to bring a bunch of people in, is that a lot of these guys that made their Major League debuts last year with George Valeria and what's his face, the center fielder, Chase DeLauder, and then we also have Travis Mazania coming up. I think they're assuming that a lot of those guys are going to be making large strides forward and going to be able to carry the team at a cheaper value than we would other players. But Brian Rocchio is really struggling, which we don't like to see. Khalil Watson, 9 games, 19 at bats. I think we honestly just let him play some second base with how bad Brian Rocchio is hitting and just move him down in the lineup a bit. I just did hear the oven there, so I'm gonna have to run and get that here in a second. I'll generate here. All right, Marshall, we're just gonna go ahead and release you, and then Logan Allen. Potentially bring up Alexander instead. I could be going back and forth between whether to have another pitcher or catcher, but we'll go with this. We're on the cusp of falling off a cliff, which I think is more likely, and also on the cusp of getting back into the thick of things, but we need to get above 500. We need to be, let's say, 10 games above 500 to have a good chance of making the playoffs of any sort. Being under 500 is not a recipe for consistent success of making the playoffs. Also, the Mariners are 19 games under 500, which is crazy to see. But that was my oven. I'm going to go run and get that. I'll be right back in just a second. All right, we are back. We have received a development notice. So say Travis Mazania is developing. His current eye improved power, so we love to see that. Same with Ralphie. We love to see that as well. So he is potentially ready for a call-up at some point. See if anyone else is struggling. I wish he played a more important position than first base, but if you're hitting, you're going to get an opportunity up here. Kyle Manzardo, he's getting heated up a little bit. His average is over 100 now. He's approaching 200. Reese Hoskins is popping off, so we love to see that. Charles LeBlanc, 188. So I think we're going to bring Manzardo back into the swing of things and give him an opportunity to solidify his spot in the lineup. Definitely his upside's a lot more than Charles LeBlanc, especially because we signed him as just kind of being a depth piece on our major league roster. So if he's not hitting or doing anything, I mean, defensively he's good at first base, but it's not really that difficult to find a good first baseman or one that's serviceable. I also don't really value defense like at all. I'd rather have 9 hitters and terrible defense, but his WAR is pretty low as well. He has only 2 home runs on the year. So what I think, we're going to try to trade him because then we can bring up Ralphie Velasquez. We don't want any veterans, so we're going to leave that unchecked. All right, so we're going to waive and designate him for assignment then. Nobody wants to trade for him. I guess they can pick him up on the waiver wire if they want. Go here, lineups. So Angel Martinez is actually batting really well too. But his expecting batting average is, I think 272 is not bad at all. Travis Mazania is heating up a little bit. His numbers are popping up. But really, the man we're looking at, he's just top with everything. So we're going to bring him up to the major league level. Let him, I mean, he's going to be the backup to Kyle Manzardo. Manzardo, he does have 11 home runs, so I will give him credit. Manzardo is hitting the ball over the fence a little bit, but we need that average to, I mean, I would say like 220, 225. We need that to be around there. So if you get to this error where it says like, oh, you can't have a team, or, you know, something wonky is going on with that, what you do is go to the rules, and then you go down to allow incomplete minor league rosters ghost players. and so that kind of mitigates or prevents that error from happening because you can't advance at all. Because that team, for whatever reason, like the Dodgers, just had 8 players, so it wasn't even like me doing that error. Um, so it's kind of annoying to do that. Also, like how wins above replacement is over here. That's pretty cool to see. That was not in the simulation page last time. Um, so that's pretty actually really cool. I do like to see that, and to see that Jose Ramirez is up there with a 2.8. We are chilling around 500. Most of our division is, besides the Tigers. The Tigers are ahead of everyone, so that's to be expected. So we might just be trying to fight for a wild card spot. Looking at the standings right now, we are 2 games out of the wild card, 1 game under 500. Bo Naylor is really struggling at the plate. Same with Kyle Manzardo. So we are going to swap that out. How is he batting this year? He has 10 home runs. Also think they changed their lineup a little bit. Maybe I clicked something, but leave Bo Naylor at the bottom of the lineup. Ralphie, batting 250 and 4 at bats, so obviously not enough to justify him staying up there. Khalil Watson, 214 and 42 at bats. Not bad, but he's a backup player right now. He's 23 years old, so we can let him go back. Honestly, we can kind of keep him up here. We have enough. We'd only drop him down if we needed another pitcher. Let's look at AAA to see Cooper Engel, whatever his name is. Walks a lot, doesn't strike out a lot, hasn't really been hitting a lot that well there. So pretty average player, and one that's probably not going to move the needle as far as helping our catching at the major league level. But with Tom Murphy being our backup catcher at 35 years old, definitely is on the cusp of just getting cut and getting moved out the team. So now we can move a player down, and CJ Cavis can play in the outfield as well. And he hasn't hit a home run yet. 250 average. It's not bad. Not bad. Manzardo's starting to heat up a little bit. He's above 200 at this point. But we're going to demote. I guess we got to waive him. We'll bring CJ Cavis back. He's batting 246 with 4 home runs. So Kyle Manzardo, he has 15 home runs. So he's hitting bombs. We do like to see that. And Rhys Hoskins is batting well. Stephen Kwan is only batting 201. He does have 7 home runs, which is quite a bit for him. Chase DeLauder, 241. And Jonathan Rodriguez, 285. So I think CJ Cavis we kind of just leave at this state and probably bring Khalil Watson down. Let those 2 guys kind of fight it out for that last spot. We'll set his other position, or his main position, to left field. And then we can bring up another pitcher as well. So we'll go down here and look at pitching and see. He's only had 1 start, but Kyle Stevens, it's pretty okay. Daniel Espinoza, probably a little bit better. If anyone else is doing well, Carlos Hernandez. He might be getting the call up. He's older anyway, so we'll promote him up. Throw him into the bullpen. Tanner Bibby's really struggling as far as the rotation goes. I don't know why it keeps wanting him to be a follower. Might just bring Tanner Bibby into the bullpen. Alright, move forward with that. See if we can get hot and got a big win streak of some sort. We certainly have a lot of the hitting that we could do that. So strain back moderate. This is where we can take advantage of a moderate injury, which could be smart to kind of hold him back a little bit. And How's George Valeria doing in AAA? Not doing too bad. So he's pretty high in everything down there. Who else did we drop down? I guess it was Charles LeBlanc. How's Cooper doing? Not too bad, not too bad. So I think we'll just bring Valeria back up. Our leadoff hitter is injured. He's batting 220. He's batting 197. So not too good. But we'll bring CJ Kapis into the outfield. And so with the potential of Brian Roque and Gabriel Arias kind of tying down our middle infield and making them pretty bad. Just need Travis Bazzania to, take that next step in his development. Then he can get the call up. He's pretty close. Honestly, at this point, in probably real life, if they're like this, he probably does get called up. So it would honestly be pretty realistic. So we actually will look at that. Because we don't need George Valeria. We can look and at our lineup here. Charles LeBlanc's doing well. Khalil's doing well. We'll set him position to the outfield. Travis Bazzania. So I was expecting my average is pretty low, but all of the metrics there seem to be pretty good. So we're actually going to promote him to Cleveland and let him make his major league debut. Because he can't possibly do that much worse than Brian Roque, right? Surely. It might be the spark that we needed, though. Zach McKinstry. Can he play in the infield? Yeah, he plays all the infield positions. Yeah, we don't want that. Yeah, we're 6 games under 500, so we're falling off a bit, which means that I actually don't mind Travis Bazzania being up here at the major league level. Kind of gives us some more flexibility, but as we get to that point of the major league draft, we start to obviously look at trading players as well, that maybe like the Charles LeBlanc, like guys that maybe try to offer him again and to see if someone wants him, but looks like the Tigers are going to kind of run away with this division. We are currently 3 games out, so we're not unrealistically far away from being in the division, but seems like Kyle Muller is kind of taking advantage of his opportunity to be in our team in the starting rotation. Slade is kind of struggling, so there is some potential to move around with pitching. Our starter's ERA is pretty bad. I'm going to look here. Tanner Bybee is really struggling as well. Parker's doing slightly, or actually doing almost exactly the same as Slade. We don't really have like a good alternative for him. And Travis Bazzania is batting well in his couple of games. Ralphie Velasquez is kind of hanging around, and then we got someone like Tom Murphy, which like we honestly can try to trade him. This is definitely, ideally he would just bat well enough to where he can just be our backup for this year. Mitch Keller is actually kind of an interesting player. So let's see if we can get them to eat some of that contract. I kind of don't mind trading that. Let's see if we can get to 90. All right, 95. Yes, we'll give you that, dude. All right, so I actually really like that trade. We got 100% of the contract covered as well. We're going to bring Cooper up to be the backup catcher. And then we can look here at, like Tanner Bybee, we don't really have any more options, I don't think. And with him struggling this much, we kind of just got to rock with him at this level. But someone like Parker Messick can go down to AAA to make a spot for Mitch Keller, which he has a 5.42 ERA, but we're going to plop him into the starting rotation to see if he kind of has a better response of being there on our team. So see maybe if that's the change that we need. Should be pretty close to the first year player draft. I think it's like in July 1st or. All right, let's see. David Fry's in Double-A. I always forget that he's in our organization, but not really too worried about him. So first year player draft is on July 11th. So we are 10 days out from that. 3 games under 500. We're right on that kind of cusp of wanting to sell, wanting to get rid of guys. Stephen Kwan, uncertain return date. We could just bring him back, so that's kind of the thing. Ralphie's not really doing too well. We're going to go ahead and demote him. We're going to bring Kwan back off the list since he's not actually hurt and just let him ride the bullpen or ride the bench for a little bit. But unfortunately, we're losing a couple games there. The division is pretty tight besides for Detroit being ahead by a bunch. Seems like Cade Smith's doing well this year. 2.56 ERA is not too great for a closer, but it's also not too bad. I would love to finish above 500 in this first year. Obviously, making the playoffs would be really nice, but if we could finish with like 85 wins, I'd be really happy with that, even if it meant we didn't make the playoffs. So we are currently 4 games out of the wild card race. So we'll look here at the first year draft. Auto draft till it gets to us. So before I kept looking at getting position players and stuff like that. I think what we're going to do is just pick the best player available, which might just be these pitchers. So they want us to go with a 21-year-old center field prospect. But I think we just get arms. I think we just grab arms. We just go best player available. Best potential available. So Keon Johnson, 18. Obviously we have, positions are even. We're going to go with the ones that's more versatile. Although he has really good power. And he's cheaper. We'll go with that. Controversial. Ethan Bass. We'll go with Ethan Bass. Shortstop's just that little bit more valuable than the center fielder. Luis Hernandez. Chandler. All future stars. Get Carson May. Catching prospect to the Stars. And then Nick Bradley. AJ Curry. Don't really value a first baseman that doesn't have good power potential. Tyler Ebel. Just look for high school prospects at this point. Anyone that's not of college age, get a couple more years of development from them. All right, these are all 2 stars now, so now we start to look for anyone that could, anyone with 2.5 stars of potential. See if there's any position players. Shortstop. Let's grab just a pitcher. Just kind of grabbing random people. So we have 2 more picks, so Grant Smith. Go ahead and offer them, but that will be the end of this video. I guess we'll do some trade and stuff before I truly wrap up. So we are currently 4 games under 500, not quite in contention. Travis Bazzania is doing pretty well in 39 at bats, 256 average. No home runs yet, but we do like this. Do like where he is starting with that. Reese Hoskins is going to be an upcoming free agent. We'll see what he wants for a contract extension. $19 million. We're gonna see if we can potentially shop him around. Kind of a risky trade, I suppose, because he is pretty productive this year. But if we could potentially get either a good prospect or someone that could fill in a different need, and I already saw someone at the top that was interesting. So Jackson Apple, it's an okay pitching process. Luis Angel Acuna, just a contact first batter, but Nacho Alvarez Jr. Pretty interesting. He played at the major league level a little bit before. 23 years old, shortstop prospect. I kind of feel like that's what we need to do. So we get someone like that. He's not on the 40 man anyway, and then we can look to potentially bring up someone like Ralphie to kind of fill that spot in again, and let Travis Bazzania be in that second slot. See if he does well in responding at being that high in the lineup. And it gives us the availability to make Ralphie the DH. Let him just focus on hitting. Although, actually, he's a better first baseman. What am I saying? We'll let Kyle Manzardo focus on being the DH. Because Ralphie's a better first baseman than him. Looking at our starting pitching, it's actually stabilized pretty well. Mitch Keller has only had 2 starts with us, but he's pitched well in them. Tanner Bybee, unfortunately, is just really struggling. We can actually demote him to AAA. I don't really want to do that at that age because he is 27. He has a pretty big contract. We could potentially look to move him as well. So I feel like there's going to be a lot of teams that are interested, even though he's been struggling this year. I do like some of these trades. Luis Gill could be interesting. Only a year older, but a little bit more potential and current skill as well. You get Justin Verlander and Drew Anderson. Jock Peterson. The Twins will give us a lot. It's honestly not the worst trade I've ever seen. The Blue Jays would give us a guy that's really struggling this year. He does have a lot of power. Jose Barrios, that would fill in a bullpen arm, and Max Scherzer, that would potentially be in the starting rotation as well. Wait, the Red Sox want to give us... Oh, this is actually... Alright, we don't want Masataka Yoshidi, whatever his name is. We'll discuss. See if they'll accept it without. Give you George Valerius, batting okay in AAA, maybe. Aiden Major, I think this could be the move. I kind of like that trade. So for Tanner Bybee, who's a full 3-star, but has a 6.56 ERA this year, doing really bad as far as the percentile ranks as well. We get Tristan Casas, who percentile rank is pretty good. His average this year is 249, only with 8 home runs. So not the craziest thing, but Brian Bello, 5.44 ERA. So it might be a good change of scenery for them both. And his contract is pretty similar to Tanner Bivey. So essentially, we're giving up a prospect that probably, we're not too worried about. 23-year-old guy that's in the ACL league and a good pitcher for a good hitter and starting pitcher, which kind of muddies things up a little bit as far as what we have up here. So what we're going to do is Ralphie is going to go back to AAA. Tristan Casas comes here. Brian Bello comes here. Don't think we need to change our starting rotation. And then Tristan Casas, plop him into the lineup here at first base, and he can earn his way up the lineup. I mean, 249 with 8 home runs. It's actually not too bad. If we look here at this view, just because it's a little bit better, we might actually swap him with Travis Bazania to be fair. So I feel like that's about good for now. Let's look here at AAA really quick and see if someone wants Charles LeBlanc. I kind of would accept any trade for him. Jose Romero, 4.33 ERA this year. Honestly, it's not too bad. Just costs a little money, so it's kind of a salary dump for them. We'll look here at pitching. Honestly, our bullpen's actually pretty good, but Slade has been the guy that's struggling the most. 4.89, so we'll send him to AAA. Bring Jojo Romero up. And yeah, that's going to be it for this one. I'm really curious about what our team does in the second half of the season. If we're able to, I guess we're kind of past the second half of the season. So the season's only 162 games, but very curious to see what our team does for the rest of the season. I feel like we have some sparks of some potential, but we definitely need to start continuing to hit better. I mean, someone like Kyle Manzardo was batting under 100 for some of the year, but has increased his average quite a bit. He's up to 17 home runs. Jonathan Rodriguez is up to 12. Jose's at 17. So we have a good amount of power in the lineup. Bo Naylor, is low average like Kyle Manzardo, but has 10 home runs. So if our hitting gets better, then we have a chance to get really hot and potentially make a wild card spot. But that's gonna be it for this one. I ended up at an hour and 2 minutes, so not shorter at all, but I'm taking a little bit more time going through stuff a little bit more. So I suppose these videos might just be the same length. But with that being said, hopefully you stick around and hopefully I don't delete this file and have to reset again. But I'll talk to you on the next one. Peace.